Oh,
It's okay with you.
خلاص إن شاء الله. That's okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين رضي الله تعالى عنهم وعن كافة المؤمنين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barakah in our time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our ibadat, our sadaqah, our du'as. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help the plight of the Muslims all over the world. Give shifa to all of those that are suffering and that are ill. Brothers, as I was listening to the beautiful qira'at of our Qari, our dear brother Sheikh Omar, I was reminded there was a verse that he recited, which, as we all hear and we remember and we reflect on the meanings of this ayah, that Asta'idhu billah, Allah Ta'ala al-Ghani, Allah Ta'ala is beyond wealthy. It doesn't need anything. And it is antum, it is you and I that are fuqara, that we are the ones who are in constant need of Him. And not only constant need of Him, but constantly in a state of need. We were created in a state of need. Our ontological, essential core being is that of need. There is no independence. And that being the case, it is important for us to remember that showing gratitude to Allah Ta'ala at every single step and moment of our life is critical. And the antithesis of showing gratitude to Allah Ta'ala in the Quran is the human being that is called Kanud. Kanud. And this is the person who, instead of counting their blessings that Allah Ta'ala has given them, they count their losses. They count what they don't have. They keep a tally of everything that everyone else has, and they almost criticize Allah Ta'ala and say, why didn't you give me the same? Why don't I have like he has and like she has? And so as we come to the masjid, as we leave the masjid, as we enter Ramadan and as we exit Ramadan, we shouldn't be like that person, the Kanud in the Quran, that just goes out into the world, amasses the world, collects from the world, and spends time reflecting on how much we weren't able to collect, how much we don't have. And we lose sight of those gifts and those blessings that Allah Ta'ala has given us. And so I want to invite all of us to reflect on Surah Al-Adiyat, where Allah Ta'ala in the Quran gives a profound explanation and analogy of the background of this type of person, وَالْعَادِيَاتِ ضَبْحًا, that I swear by the steeds, the horses that are panting, very tough. Imagine the rider that's riding out into the world and beating the horse. His desire for the world, his desire to go out and get something is so strong that it even causes the horse fatigue. His desire to amass the world is such that it affects the vehicle that he's using to pursue the world. And so Allah Ta'ala swears by that. That some of us, our desire to amass the world and we forget Allah Ta'ala is such that we drive our cars into ruin. We drive our friends into ruin. We drive the things around us into ruin just so we can get what we perceive to be in the possessions of what others have. فَالْمُورِيَاتِ قَدْحًا, and by the sparks that are ignited by the hoofs hitting the ground, yani by the contact of that animal hitting the pavement, hitting the ground, there's sparks that are ignited. And what this comes to mind is the chemical and transformational changes that occur on the ground and in the earth and in the environment that emerge as a result of our pursuit in the world. That in an effort to amass the things of this world, we not only change the environment and alter the conditions of the world, but that altering of the environment and that change of the environment is also a reaction and a byproduct and an effect of the fact that we too have changed. And that alteration of the world is a product that we are changing as well. فَالْمُغِيرَاتِ سُبْحًا, by the raids that occur at the dawn, at the subh time. Because in the old times in the battle, they would attack in the dawn, in the subh time. And that would catch everybody off guard. And you look at the modern world today, and the first thing that we do is we go out at the subh time. We go out to work. There's rush hour there. When you look at the highway, it's almost like there's a raid. There's an attack on the roads, in traffic. People are driving around, going into each other's lanes, cutting off people for a space, trying to be the first one, trying to get ahead of the traffic light, etc. There's competition. There's raids for the material world from the subh time. فَالْمُغِيرَاتِ سُبْحًا, people start early in the morning pursuing the world. فَأَثَرْنَ بِهِ نَقْعًا, and the result, the athar, the traces and the result of that raid, that desire, that amassing of the world, that congestion, is that smoke and clouds and dust emerge. So you can imagine the horses that are raiding from the army in the desert in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the dust that emerges, and it's hard to see your ally and hard to see your friends and hard to see your adversary. And similarly in the modern world, when we go out and we pursue the world, we create dust amongst us, we create pollution and smog. And the dust of the competition and of the material world causes us to be foggy in our relationships to each other, clouds our judgment, impedes our progress. فَأَثَرْنَ بِهِ نَقْعًا فَوَسَطْنَ بِهِ جَمْعًا. And despite of that cloudiness, in spite of that pollution, in spite of not being able to perceive properly, in spite of the harm to the environment and the potential harm to each other, despite that ruckus and that noise, that chaos, we jump right into the mix. It's the nature of the world. We jump right into the chaos. We become part of the crowd. We become part of the chaos. إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لِرَبِّهِ لَكَنُودٌ. Despite that, all of that effort, all of that harm, all of that chaotic uprising to be people of the world, to amass the world, to get things, to be material oriented. Despite that, Allah Ta'ala gives to us and He blesses us. And He gives us opportunities to turn to Him. He gives us opportunities to reform our relationship with Him. But in spite of that, the insan li rabbihi, the human being's attitude towards their Rabb is that they are kanud. They are at the height of being ungrateful to Allah Ta'ala. Instead of counting their blessings, thanking Allah Ta'ala for getting them home safely, for blessing their families, not being in a worse condition, we tend to reflect on our losses. We tend to think about what we don't have. What I invite all of you and myself to take home with us is that we shouldn't be like that. We shouldn't think about what we've lost. Any and every opportunity, any and every day that we have is a day of gain, despite the challenges that exist. Don't look at what happens in the media as a loss. Don't count your losses when you lose something, when you lose your house or you lose your job or you lose an opportunity or you lose a parking space. Don't look at that. That's the shaitanic lens to get you to always criticize and critique Allah Ta'ala. But that is not our maqam. That is not our place. We are ibad. And so we give. And when things happen, we give more. And when things happen worse, we give more. And we pray more. And we make dua more. And any trial and tribulation that we are in, we understand that it could be worse, and the fact that it's not worse is a ni'mah that requires gratitude, that requires a change of attitude, that requires that we not be the kanud. And so, as we have this toy drive, we should all be buying toys. We should all be looking at the fact that this is a means to show gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the gifts of children, the gift of health, the gift of wealth, the gift of the masjid, the gift of community, all of these ni'am. And if there's a loss, if we perceive a loss of a ni'mah, that's a fault in our perception. Because there are more ni'am to come as a result of that, if we perceive properly. But if we want to lose, then the way of the kanud is there. So let us be mindful of that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspire us to be better ibad. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate our himmah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us, give us tawfiq to worship Him in the best way that we're able to, and to keep us as muwahidun, to keep us with true iman and sidq and hidayah, and to keep our hearts together, and to not allow us to be divided, so that we may be one ummah in this life and meet each other with pure hearts and beautiful faces under the banner of hamd with the Prophet ﷺ in the next life. Wa akhir ad-da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.